We then proceeded at that point into our simulated countdown.
Lunchtime, kids!
All right!
Yum, 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 yum.
Hello, friends. It's lunchtime.
And hello, welcome to the Lunch Break Show. I am Josh in the studio today with Packed House with Matt, Zach, Anna, and Sarah Strackhouse. We are talking about, right off the top of the bat, this is Cleaning for a Reason week. Was this past week Cleaning for a Reason week, or is it like starting next week? This week is it?
It's this week, yeah. It started on the 18th and went through all this week, and it's basically a fundraising sponsorship week, but you can obviously donate and be involved whenever.
So that's why you'll see Zach supporting the hat, rocking the hat. I have candle burners. You want to come by our studio here at Suite 170, Lincoln Tower 2, and grab all the Cleaning for a Reason swag you could possibly get your hands on. We have it for you here in studio. It's a really cool company. They clean houses, but if you are any kind of cancer, if you're going through treatment and you have cancer, they clean your house for free. Because they said, obviously with chemo and the therapy, you're going to be really tired. You're not going to have time to do that kind of stuff. So it's a great organization. And I suggest checking it out. It's cleaningforareason.org. It's pretty cool. And now, Sarah, you were saying that your mom is a breast cancer survivor.
She found a lump and ended up getting, double mastectomy right off the spot. So
that's a bummer.
Yeah, and it was right before my wedding. She didn't tell me.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I didn't know until after.
That probably didn't go over too well, right? You probably rather would have known.
I felt so horrible that she was going through that right before my wedding. Hadn't said anything.
Yeah. Oh, like
wow.
that's just one of those things. Hey, somebody's watching the stream.
How did that start?
Let's see. I muted Josh's laptop, so it's not that. It's got to be coming down somewhere else.
No, that was still me. I unplugged to do the quick save.
And it started.
Then on my computer, yeah. So
Okay.
I apologize.
Well, sorry.
We are tight ship today.
Sorry for stepping on your story, Sarah.
Yeah.
I apologize.
It's fine. It's not a long.
They're
one.
not just breast cancer, right?
No,
all kinds of
any kind of cancer. Yeah.
Right.
So there is. Go ahead.
They have, it's a nonprofit, so they have companies from all over the country that are involved. Like they have places in, companies in New York that do the cleaning, and it's just all under the Cleaning for a Reason umbrella. It's pretty cool.
Well, I accidentally stepped on some toes yesterday. We had these, which are, for anybody who doesn't know on stream, they are jar openers, which I didn't know that. I never would have thought of that. I never would have thought, well, you need something to open a jar because I guess I'm a guy and my heteronormativity is like my heart on my sleeve. So
you're part of the problem.
That's right. Yeah, I'm contributing to the problem. So I apologize. Shout out to the jar openers, retail.
But hang on,
25
it
cents?
says
What are these things
jar
cost?
opener, but in other, there's more uses to it.
Oh,
It
yeah,
says
look at this.
Grip garden hose, peel garlic, remove stuck like
Okay,
balls.
stop. I'm not bashing on cleaningforareason.org.
Yeah.
Grip garden hose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you need a grip for it to hold a garden hose?
Probably to
They had
unhook
It
it.
becomes
They had,
slippery.
they had to figure out a way to fill out all of this space here with
Right.
something, and gripping a garden hose was the best thing.
Wait, shoe
oysters.
insole?
Peel garlic? Also, mouse pad?
Mouse
this
pad.
isn't a mouse
This
pad.
is the first thing I
Okay.
thought, actually.
Like-
I thought when I put it on the table, it sticks. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
mouse would be good here.
Yeah.
Shoe insole?
Yeah.
I guess
So
you
now
cut it to
we
shit.
are just bashing on this product. So we will skip. Wait, go to cleaningforreason.org if you know of anyone who is going through treatment right now, and they would love to help them out. It is 420. We can't skip over that fact.
Right.
I mean, we could. We didn't really have to mention it.
We're choosing not to.
It's the low hanging fruit.
Yeah,
right?
we're not going to
That's-
get into any sort of big deal about it. I will play some generic music,
okay.
and I have a fun phone call for you. But first, there is a police station in outside of Houston. I forget what station it is. Do we have that? Do we have that photo?
Yep, putting it on the stream now.
They think they found, and they reported on Twitter, they found the longest joint in history.
Not only the longest joint, the longest joint.
Oh,
It's
like
got
8
about
O's?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got about 7 O's.
It
in
was.
it.
Love that.
I question their prowess of education when it comes to narcotics, because it was 8 inches. That was the length. That was the length of.
Oh yeah, you got it on stream.
That was the length of the thing in question. It was 8 inches long.
8 inches.
Yeah. So just for the record, the longest is 100.
I see that the joint is down below the bag here.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, okay.
I would imagine apt and non-shy Googlers on stream would probably be able to find something longer in a matter of seconds. Right?
Boston had one that was 100 foot long. So yes,
Boston,
it is,
the city of Boston
the
had
city of
one?
Boston. They have an organization that is
100 feet.
pro marijuana use.
Where do you even roll that? Down Main Street? What do you,
I guess I don't know.
How does
Somewhere
that
on the,
turn
excessive.
around?
Anyway, so they have that. Now we're going to get into, again, I think the real issue here is that people are going to be calling in sick. Here is a phone call that was done from a guy last year that is now, of course, making the rounds this year, a guy who's suffering from 420 and calls in sick.
Hey guys, I'm just calling to let you know I'm not coming to work today. Yeah, my water pipe's busted in half, like 2 big old pieces, and the electrical power got shut off too. It's a big old disaster. It's probably on the news. So I have to stand right here and wait for all the repair and construction guys to get here to fix it, okay? Oh, I gotta go. I think that they're here because they weren't, and I do need you. If you want, you can call me if you need, because I'm here. Like, I'm at home, and but you don't have to call me, but don't call me if you need to. The phone is not working. I don't even know how it's working right now. Bye.
That was, by the way, the photo you saw on stream was who I imagined when I hear that audio.
Probably wasn't the man, but
That's who,
who's Matt? Yeah, good job.
That's who I imagined was making that phone call. And there you go. That's all we're gonna do around 420. We have a lot more coming up, including some ways that foreign countries are taking care of the jaywalking problem in China.
Oh, wow.
That when we come back on the Lunch Break Show. And we are back on the lunch break show. So we have a lot of other things to get into, but I saw this headline out of a newspaper in Asia. It's called Straight News. Not sure, but that's another name. We're Real News. They're Straight News. I think a possible correlation there.
Sounds legit.
We can team up with them, I think.
Yeah, any day. They figured out a way to prevent the jaywalking problem in China. And this is an ingenious system where they have jet streams of water. Because the headline just says, attention jaywalkers, you will be sprayed with water in central China City.
What?
And so I had to obviously read the story. And then I think I sent you a photograph of this map.
I don't know.
Oh. But it's basically, so at where the light pole is, there's a sensor, like a burglary sensor, like lights that go across. And if you break that line, jets of water stream out like 30 or 40 feet and soak you.
Okay.
So if you cross this line, you just get drenched.
I'm looking at you. I have no idea what you're talking about. What's jaywalking?
Jaywalking is when, so you're at an intersection, and you have those little like stripe lines.
Right.
And you cross when the walk says the little guy doesn't walk,
yes,
or the hand.
Right. You have to cross at a crosswalk. Right.
Okay.
You can't just cross anywhere in the street. You got to go to the crosswalk at the intersection and cross there. That's where you can safely cross the road.
So if you don't, it's called jaywalking. It's a fine. Every city you jaywalk all the time.
Oh, it's the name of the game.
Yeah, the name of the game.
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone get ticketed for jaywalking. I'm sure it happens
In Germany, they do.
They do ticket you?
They ticket?
Yep. You do get ticketed. Well, in Berlin when I was in, I didn't, but there was Berlin ones.
Look, we don't believe in walking down to the crosswalk.
No.
Here in America. It's too much work. It's too much
People don't
exercise.
walk in America.
Yeah, we're not going to go the extra mile. We're taking the shortest, most efficient route there. That's what it's all about.
And Germany is known for their no-nonsense policies on a lot of different things. So efficiency at all costs. But I thought that was a pretty ingenious way. Because at first I thought it said water cannons. I thought that was going to be a hair excessive. But
Just blast them across
it's
the
water
street.
jets. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to tear this idea apart, but I really can't think of a good way to get into it. Like, it's pretty effective. That would work on me. I wouldn't cross there.
Can you imagine going to work after like accidentally jaywalking or something? You're just soaked. What happened?
Right.
Oh, I
Shame.
crossed the
Right,
road
that
at
public
the wrong
shame.
time.
That's another big part of
And
this.
if you have an accident on the street, no problem. Just jaywalk. Boom. No one knows.
Well, maybe it should have
there you
ink in
go.
it or something like that, so it stains your clothes.
There
a
you
certain
go.
color.
Then that's damaging to certain people. Water dries and it's fine.
It's like the scarlet letter.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
people could
big
possibly
J.
sue or something.
Yeah.
You know.
So it has
China?
that.
No.
Nobody sues in China.
It's that, and then it's combined with a loud announcement saying, "Please do not jaywalk. It is dangerous for your health."
Wow.
So
We'll do
Jaywalking
it.
in China.
there you go.
I'm
I
going to
think-
remember that next time I jaywalk here, which will probably be right after the show at some point.
Yeah, jaywalking is
stroll
one of
across.
those
Just do it
things.
for fun.
Exercise my right as an American. That's right.
And then also things that are trending on Twitter right now. I saw this video. I think I've showed most of you. There's a girl in Bath, which is a university in the UK, somewhere around the Essex area. And for some reason, she was trying to make a quick escape out of this staging setup at it looks like a soccer field. And so she goes to jump over the railing to take off in front of all of her friends and peers, and it does not go well for her. Do we have that video for the stream?
I have it up for the stream in one moment.
So here you go. This is my like worst nightmare. So the worst part for this is it gets hit by the water cannon. Like, yeah, so she jumps over the railing,
Wow.
goes to take a quick little jaunt, and then just gets pulverized by the water cannon. The water cannon has to hurt worse.
I think she has both
little
feet
delayed,
in
sorry.
the. Yeah, she's completely propelled into the air.
Yeah.
Both feet off the ground.
Whoa.
And that's a hard fall, too. She lands on her shoulder.
Yeah.
The other shoulder.
The
Oh,
worst
man.
part is her. I'm guessing it's her friend. I hope it's her friend.
man.
Has this like uncontrollable like hee-haw laugh.
She's
Oh, yeah.
guffawing in
yeah,
frame.
yeah. Just everyone's laughing at her. This poor girl. First to fall in front of your friend. So I've done this before.
Yeah.
Not quite this bad. I was about to give an announcement in high school. In high school, you're already like on edge and very like sensitive and all this kind of stuff. and I was walking down to give an announcement. I'm already worried about like what I'm going to say and how I'm going to present. And I miss a step walking down the stairs, and I'm a big guy, so I don't fall gracefully. I'm not a dancer, and I just
Right, it's not just a little. Lost my balance a little bit.
Every step,
you eat
every
it.
bone of my body hit every single thing, and just blah, 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 blah. And so I get to the end, and I try to like play it off. Everything hurts. I'm like, I'm cool.
Yep.
I'm cool. I am not cool.
Totally casual.
And then to make matters worse, I walk up on stage. Everyone's still laughing. I'm trying to like play it off like it didn't happen. Clearly it did.
Right.
And then I ruined my announcement. So that was one of my like worst. That happened 12, 13 years ago, 14 years ago. Still remember it to this day.
I thought you were going to say
think about
12
Haunts
times.
my dreams. No. Haunts my dreams.
Just the other day, I was going back and watching episodes of a show that inspired a show on ABC called Wipeout. It's an old show called Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. Matt, I'm sure you're familiar.
Sure, yeah.
And some of those people, like, the way they run into obstacles, like on the show Wipeout, you've seen.
Yeah.
Like, I love they hop back up, and they're like, oh, I'm fine. I'm like, no, I want somebody to just ragdoll. Just go limp in the water.
Some of those had to hurt. Like some of the
God.
stuff.
Especially when you would like fall and you would see like the neck snap back or like
yeah.
the back.
Yeah.
You're like, you know that person is having
You look like a
some
crash
injuries
test
after
dummy.
today.
I mean, it's extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those. Just no one else has had a horrible falling experiment in front of everyone. No one.
If I have, I've psychologically blocked it out. I don't
I'm-
remember. But
I'm
I'm sure
the only-
I have.
I know. I fall all the time.
Yeah.
I trip over all the time. It's more like trip over, but I will fall where no one does. One time I missed. This was at school actually. I was going down these steps and I skipped 2. I don't know. I just think my mind went blank. My brain shut off.
Sure.
And I jumped 2 steps into this floor that was super slippery. I was just remember waking up on the floor. I'm like, what happened? And my friend is like, what the hell? And I'm like, I broke my knee for sure. I didn't. Still both good. But
It was one time. Go ahead. Sorry, did you have a story? It was one time in college. I was I had to go do financial aid stuff, which I did not have any experience in, and I was putting it off, and because I didn't want to deal with it, and didn't want to have to try adulting because I was in college. And I go down to financial aid at old UNT, University of North Texas, and sit down there for like an hour, and I have these very mature adult conversations with people about money and finance and scholarships and. I end up getting out of it, and I'm so like elated that I did it. Right, I overcame this obstacle, this thing I'd built up in my head. That I'm going up the stairs to get out of there, and then right then there's this big crowd of people coming in because class just let out. And I look up at the crowd of people. I'm thinking, man, I feel great. Hit a step, trip, fell, slammed my forehead into the steps. Everybody laughed. It was like 15 people. Every single one of them laughed. It was heartwarming, I guess. So yeah, that's my lame story of falling on a set of stairs. It was great.
So I don't know if I have any of this beat, but I definitely fell during marching band.
That's a good time.
So
It's in front of a lot of people. Isn't
That
it?
is in front of a lot of
you're in
people.
a ridiculous outfit.
It is
so
in
that's
front of a lot of
even-
people.
yeah.
And so it was, oh gosh, it might have been my sophomore or junior year, but we had certain maneuvers where you're moving very quickly and then coming to a quick stop and then having to like reverse direction. And so yeah, it had been, I guess it had probably rained earlier in the day. I want to say it was on a field that was a turf field and not a natural grass. So those are always a little slippery whenever it was wet. And yeah, we just had one of those maneuvers, and I came to a stop and kept going. And then the rest of the show doesn't stop, so people are just marching around you or like going, and you got to work your way back into the formation. But yeah, a lot of people were hanging out there watching the football game.
So it was muddy.
It's not. No, it was AstroTurf, so it wasn't muddy.
Okay.
It was just
But it's slippery.
It was slippery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
you
were you
couldn't get a lot of
in like
traction.
full uniform or was this practice?
Oh yeah, uniform.
What instrument did you play?
French horn.
Did you let out like a when you went
No,
down?
it doesn't stay attached to your mouth. No, didn't do any of that.
Did you just sound effect for yourself?
I had a horrible one in high school. It was my freshman year, and I was running in my backyard, and we had these slate steps, and I was with 2 girlfriends, and it was freshman year. We had just kind of become friends, and I'm all excited. I'm at like a new high school, and it was soccer season, so it was kind of preseason. And as I'm like hanging out, I'm like running, and I pretend to be Tarzan for some reason. I don't know why. I was like beating my chest and looking up.
Nice. There you
like
go.
one does.
Like yes, like one does on a normal Tuesday. And so then I start running over these steps, and I fell, and the slate went into my knee and cut all the way through.
Wow.
It like somehow missed like a muscle, I guess, but it like hit a part of my bone, and then I had to get stitches and stuff.
Is it
Wow.
more embarrassing because of the buffoonery beforehand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I was like being so like.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm
right.
so funny. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and
sure.
then boom, I was out.
Story of my life. We're taking a quick break. When we come back, we're talking about problems at home for one RNCN employee. Her and her beau got into their first big fight. Break down what happened and our solutions coming up next. And we are back. So we talked before, there is a situation that was brought to our attention here at the lunch break show. One of our coworkers here at RNCN, and her and her fiance are living together. They have a nice home, and they've built a home together, and they're living under the same roof. I don't think for the first time. They were living together beforehand, and before they moved.
Do you want to say who it is?
Yeah. It's Sarah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's in the description for anybody that doesn't
Yeah.
know. So if you were trying to hide their identity,
me,
like
Sarah.
No,
that's
not
out.
Sarah
Other Sarah.
Strackhouse.
Not Sarah
Sarah,
Strackhouse.
Although.
Yeah, Sarah Crilley. So
Right.
Sarah was saying, that she got her first official scolding, and that kind of perked my ears up a little bit.
Scolding is a very specific way
That is.
to refer to
Yeah.
it.
I don't think. I mean, I've been scolded by my wife. I've never scolded my wife. I can't imagine a time where I would be gutsy enough to scold her.
Well, maybe it wasn't scolding to you, but it felt like scolding to her.
Well, that's very insightful.
I mean, I don't know.
Way to just sink that whole
you've cut
thing.
me deep.
Rachel and Josh are in the comments. If you can let us know if you've ever been scolded, please. This is important.
Share.
I tell my husband not to be fresh. Because my grandma used to say it to me.
Don't be
Like, stop
fresh.
being so fresh when he
Don't
gets an
be fresh.
attitude.
Okay, but fresh to me
Wow.
means
like
like
that.
he's trying to like make a move on you.
No.
Right.
Like fresh, like with your mouth. Like my grandma, like Italian, had all these weird sayings. She said, "Don't get a fresh with me."
I've heard that.
Whereas
Yeah,
if
I've
I
heard
say-
that.
Don't
Yeah.
get fresh with me.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so I say that to my husband sometimes.
Sure.
And does that work or?
He usually laughs and then it moves on. It kind of
So,
avoids it.
what did Sarah Crilley do exactly?
So Sarah Crilley said that her fiance, future husband, called and said, "I can't believe I have to do this for you again." And I was like something like major, like maybe she broke something, or
Yeah.
I was picturing like a big thing, like backed into the garage. Or like maxed out a credit card
For the second time.
something like major life altering, and it was not putting dishes in the dishwasher, which to me is pretty low on the
Yeah.
list of like things that would be worthy of a scold.
It seems a little dramatic. I can't believe I have to do this for you again. It's important to note neither of them are here
No,
to
of course not.
corroborate or defend these
No,
stories.
no.
So it's
But
This is all
so-
hearsay at this
so
point.
what she said happened is that when she is busy, and we all know that Sarah Crilley is a very busy bee, if you will.
Sure.
Kind of doing a lot of different things, and so she'll cook but she won't do the dishes until there's a sink full of them. Like, why waste time doing a plate or two, or a cup or two, or a pan or two when the sink's full? Then I'll clean it and put them in the dishwasher and start it.
See, this can be a problem for a couple of reasons. One, size of sink. All right, if you get a lot of real estate, you can get a lot of dishes in there. And two, I know Sarah Crilley, she gets coffee a lot, like Starbucks. I know she probably eats out on occasion. So those dishes might take a few days to stack up. That may not be like a day or two. That might be like a week. and then you start working in like
She
a
said
scent of
she
sorts.
said for the max would be like 3 or 4 days.
All right, so the offender here, the person who's leaving the dishes in the dishwasher, said max 3 or 4 days.
Max would
I'm
be
going to
3 or
assume
4
that's
days.
5 or 6 then. Like, you got to add some, right?
She's giving herself some birthday.
You're going to give
Yeah.
yourself a pat on the back, right? That's okay.
See, but to me, I think you can so easily get distracted at the dishes because think about it. You're in the kitchen. There's food just steps away. A lot of times when you're doing the dishes, you're also multitasking. Like I'm always watching TV or cooking. So a lot of times what I end up doing is leaving. I start like emptying the dishwasher, and I'll kind of set things on a counter so that when I walk around the other side, I'm going to take it all with me. And then I leave it open, and we have 2 big dogs, so sometimes the dogs will come by, and my husband always gets so, he's like, oh my God, they're getting their hairs in the clean dishes and stuff like that. And in my head, I'm like, oh, well, the stove, the food on the stove is going to burn. So like, it's just not a
Different
top
priorities.
Yes, exactly. Not a top priority for
So
me.
it's a problem for you with multitasking.
Yeah. So, I guess so. Yeah.
Life
and
gets in the
priorities.
way.
Yeah. Like I'm like at this point, like unloading the dishwasher is
Sure.
not my biggest concern. And even if there are dishes there,
Right. I think Sarah Strackhouse is onto something here. What's our personal interpretation here? How often do you do the dishes? You wait a couple
Every
days,
how
you do it
often?
right away?
Well, normally it depends, but usually if we have had if we've made dinner and so like there have been pots and pans and dishes made from dinner, then we'll try to do them directly afterwards or that night.
Yeah.
Sure.
If it's just been a normal day where you've maybe used 1 or 2 plates and maybe have eaten out or something, then that might wait for the next time you run the dishes whenever there's a large load.
Yeah.
I don't like running a dishwasher with just a few plates in it. I'll either wash them by hand or wait until you get at least a decent sized dishwasher load in there. So that's what.
So my wife can't sleep if there's dirty dishes in the sink. So that's not an issue. They're done.
It's kind of a good problem to have,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's
sometimes I wish I was more like that because I could let them sit.
Right.
I know
Yeah.
how good that is. Yeah.
Sorry, Anna, go ahead, please. I didn't cut you off.
So I was just thinking, it depends on, it sounded like Sarah's fiance had traumatic experiences before. It just sounds like
This is clearly an
maybe-
ongoing thing because he says, I'm doing this again or something
Yeah,
like
but
that.
I don't know. I just feel like he perhaps shared the house, back when he was a bachelor or whatever, with someone that would like get dishes like dirty for weeks or
Yeah.
something like this, or would cook constantly and leave it. Maybe that left a mark.
I will
He's
say
dealing
this.
with trauma.
I love that.
I will say this: guys and girls cohabitate differently. I think when I moved in with my wife and we were just dating, there's a lot of different stressors that happen. Things that I've lived
Things
with.
add up.
Yeah, I lived with my college roommate for 3-4 years.
Yeah.
5 if you count after college. Two fights, and they were like, "Hey, don't be that guy." Got it. I won't be that guy. That was the extent of it because I was
Right.
leaving. The 2 fights were I left pots and pans in the sink for a week, and I got a don't be that guy. And then I set off firecrackers in the bathroom while he was taking a shower. I thought it would be hilarious, and so I put him in a silver bowl to contain all the paper. But what that did was create a cannon for the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
So
there was
both
just-
times you were that guy.
Oh yeah, I was
It
the
wasn't
guy. Yeah, he did nothing wrong.
I love that's
That's
labeled
really
somehow as a fight. Like, what's your
Right.
argument there?
Because
Like,
what he did is because he had just bought this house. So I was just staying there.
Right.
He had bought the house and then spent all this time, effort, energy fixing it up.
Yeah.
And day 2 of being in there, it was hilarious. It was not some reason not hilarious to him. He just popped his head out of the shower and was like, "Don't do that again." Got it. Yeah.
And that was your quote unquote
what
fight.
isn't hilarious about that?
And
is
that was our two kind of things. And then outside of that, guys don't ever really have a problem living together. Girls, on the other hand, I have heard of female roommates with I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the emotions. I'm trying to think. How do I not want to step into it here?
I'm like,
like
please.
waiting for the words to
But
come.
Yeah. Okay,
I
sorry.
don't know if it's all the hormones going on.
Do y'all find that to be true?
So it depends, and I don't know
agree.
about you, but it depends the friend and the situation. Like in when I graduated college, I lived with 2 girls. We never fought. We were always like, I don't know. They were just both pretty chill girls, and if someone had an issue, it was just like a sentence you said back and forth, and that was it. Like, we never fought or really had any issues that I can think of. In college, I lived with 6 girls. We were all on the soccer team. We were together pretty much like 90% of the time.
Wow.
Yeah, because just soccer, a lot of classes together, all in the house. You know, we hung out with the same groups of people, and there were a lot of different personalities there. And we were kind of, you know, we chose to live together, of course, but we were all thrust together because we were on the soccer team. So there were some issues there.
I think dishes like laundry are like the modern man and woman's ball and chain, right? It's like groceries. You gotta do it every once in a while. Just do. It's uncomfortable. Nobody likes it, but you gotta do the dishes. Like, just do. And whether you do them a day or 2 after the fact or right away, I think it's probably fine. It's when you're coming up on fire. What are you chuckling about in there,
We're
Matt?
just waiting
I'm
for you
reading
to
the
say-
comments that are being left on the
it's when-
Facebook page.
Okay, Josh. Yeah, what is this? Excuse me. Can you
sorry.
introduce this to the stream, please?
I was responding back. My wife remembered a second thing that we had, a third one. I was helping him paint the room. One of the rooms. I thought it'd be hilarious.
The house he bought.
The
right,
house
that
he
you're
bought.
living in.
That I thought, hey, I'll help you paint. And so I painted a male reproductive organ.
Sure.
Onto the wall.
The male reproductive.
And I was like, hey, look at this. Ha, 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 ha. Well, it turns out after you, like, paint over something once and it sets, it's really hard to, like, make it go away. And so I painted the wall, like, 1,000 times. It just kept getting darker with every coat I put on to try to cover it up. So
my God.
until, like, the day the house sold to someone else, you could still see the faint outline of a, he didn't ask me to help paint anymore after that either, though.
I bet when he was thinking about selling, he was so terrified. Like, somebody's going to come through and see that. And
If the light
probably
shines
never
that way.
noticed
Yeah.
it. Oh, sure.
So that was that story.
That is fantastic.
I should point out with the story that kicked this whole thing off, it was a bowl of cereal with milk in it that she left in the
Oh my God.
the sink. And I asked her, I said, did you at least rinse it out? Did you rinse the milk out?
Nope.
Leaving just, I mean, you still have to do the dishes, but just rinse the milk out. And she says, well, no. And that would drive me crazy if someone was just leaving cups and bowls full of milk in the sink. Like, rinse the milk out. Do me that solid, and then we can. I'm not gonna worry about it.
I don't mind that. Yogurt makes me really angry.
kind of the same
Dairy,
thing.
really,
But it's
right?
like chunkier. It's creepier. I
Right.
don't know.
Here's my question. Sorry
Sure.
to cut you off, Zach. For all of you who know Sarah Crilley, and if you don't, please stop by the Real News PR offices and talk with her. Because she gives you these eyes. They're like, she like stares through your soul kind of eyes. Like when she looks at you, like she's like this like nicest, most sweet person ever in life. I don't know how I could ever like. I guess if you're living with her, it changes all of that. But how you
Right.
could like scold Sarah Crilley, that part seems the weirdest to me because like she has that sense of like when she looks at you, I'm like, fucking stop.
Right.
Yeah.
You're so good.
I hate to be mad at her.
Sarah and Nick have a very, I guess every relationship's unique. So their relationship is unique like any other, but
Sure.
it is odd, yeah, seeing how Sarah Crilley works and working alongside her, wondering how that kind of personal end pans out. But what's most interesting to me is that for me in a relationship, if I found out a group of 5 people was live streaming to 5 different websites a conversation about my relationship, and I didn't want to call in or be involved in that somehow. Like, I was out to lunch, like, it's fine. They'll just talk about us. Like, that would bug me a lot. And they don't seem
Me
to be
too.
concerned about it at all.
I
So
think she
I don't
trusts
know what that means, but it's certainly...
Does he know that we're even talking about this?
Intriguing.
I'm assuming he doesn't.
Can we send it to him after? Hey, Nick, sure.
Yeah, because that's the kind of guy you want to make mad.
Happy April.
Yeah, Nick. Okay, we have Sarah Strackhouse in the room because she is our entertainment news correspondent, and she's going to provide some actual like validity to the news segments that we do. So we're going to try to figure out a way to incorporate her more and more on Mondays and Fridays, giving out the news that maybe you missed, maybe you didn't see, or you want more information about. Here is our newscast sounder. Take it away, Sarah Strackhouse.
Well, I like it. That's awesome. So official.
I want to keep that volume cranked every time you do it. Just blow out the speakers, like so loud.
So aggressive.
I love it.
Sorry.
Oh, it's great.
I love it. All right, well, so we're looking at the top headlines right now. Unfortunately, we're starting off with a shooting. I know we had kind of fun and we're taking this weird turn, but that's kind of one of the top stories right now. It was in Florida. It happened at a high school in Osala. I hope I'm saying that right. It was about 60 miles north of Orlando. One person was shot in the ankle, and it doesn't seem like this was kind of a random situation like some of the other ones we've seen. It probably was just personal, but the weird part is that it happened on the 19th year anniversary of the Columbine shooting in Colorado. The other thing is that today is also the day where 2,500 schools across the country were participating in a national school walkout, hoping to raise the subject of gun reform. So, kind of a weird day for that to happen. Looking at politics, we're breaking it down for you. Former FBI Director James Comey is making headlines again. Basically, what happened is the Justice Department gave Congress memos of Comey's private conversations with President Trump, and then just minutes later, those were leaked from Congress to the Associated Press. So this is kind of also where it gets a little tricky. If you read CNN articles, you'll hear some talking points about Trump's pompous attitude, throwing his weight around, and speaking inappropriately when he first entered the White House. If you read Fox News articles, you'll hear talking points about the fact that Comey admitted there wasn't any collusion with Trump and Russia in the election. So kind of going to put that out there. Whoever, if you want to, whoever you read or however you listen to, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Sure.
Like taking a look at a top business story, Wells Fargo saga continues. U.S. technically the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau and the Office of the Comptroller of Currency, I'm not going to say that again, basically the U.S.
It's a mouthful.
is fining Wells Fargo $1 billion for charging customers for car insurance that they didn't need. I would be so angry if that happened.
Insurance?
Car insurance.
Okay.
Yeah. According to The Week, the bank will give $500 million to each agency. The backstory, in case, of course, you don't remember, is that last year about 570,000 customers were forced into buying unnecessary car insurance. It said about 20,000 of those ended up defaulting because they couldn't pay off that loan. So just...
Wow.
Yeah, would be pretty angry.
As a Wells Fargo user, that's a little concerning to me. Yeah,
touch, right?
Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
That's
Well, finally, a pretty interesting story out of Alabama.
always interesting out of Alabama.
It hit headlines yesterday. So the first sentence, verbatim, of this NBC article reads, Alabama's poop train is no longer raising a stink.
Well, first of all, that's great writing.
You have my attention. Go ahead.
They also go on to say that it's been the butt of jokes.
Oh, wow.
This is what
Did I
journalism
write this?
It's okay that I'm
majors
saying
live
this.
for.
So apparently there was this train carrying literally human waste,
Sure.
from New York City that was supposed to pass through this little town in Alabama called Parrish, and it was supposed to end up in a landfill accepting biosolids. But apparently the neighboring county had decided that they didn't want this poop train passing through
Makes
their
sense.
county. So it stuck in this little town in Alabama for like 2 months. And people were complaining so badly that it smelled outside. They couldn't walk outside. They didn't feel comfortable grilling outside anymore because of the stench. And the mayor wrote on Twitter a little earlier this week, they've unloaded the poop. And finally, they are going to be stink-free.
So since they couldn't, so the county that they were trying to get to said, we don't want the train coming through.
I don't even think that was the ending county, just the county that it was supposed to pass through
Right.
next.
Just got caught
So they
up
just
in-
had to stay
Yeah.
parked in this little town.
Yep.
Just like red tape kind of situation.
Yeah.
It's like the Valley View Mall. You were
I
talking
know.
about that the other day.
Yeah.
It's like half torn down and kind of just hanging out.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Well, they have plans for the Valley View Mall. They got stuck in some funding issues.
do you know about this?
Yeah.
Oh, what? Okay. Well, please fill me in.
The-
I don't know. Yeah, I just drive
yeah.
by the monstrosity
Yeah, no,
every day.
they're gonna build. It's gonna be like another Shops of Legacy.
Oh.
But right there. It's gonna be
That's
like little
great.
condos, nice outdoor eating places, and they're gonna have that whole area. They're trying to get. Oh, I don't want to say get rid of. They're trying to relocate some apartments over there as well, and kind of bring that area back to life again.
Nice.
So kind of be like outdoor shops. They're gonna keep the movie theater from what I understand, intact.
Is it still open?
I think so.
See, I was talking about that the other day.
But
I can't imagine it's still open.
can't
The
imagine.
whole, the whole thing is like
They still
blocked
have
off.
like multicolored lights and the marquee up and
So,
stuff. Like I think
I don't
it's
know.
still open.
But yeah, they're gonna have a whole plan for that. You can find that at thecityofdallas.com. They have a
Nice.
whole
But yeah,
little
meanwhile,
spot of
the
work.
bill it's just sitting there halfway torn down
Yeah.
because they can't figure out how to move forward on this thing.
yeah.
Well, that's like something that happened in Frisco. There was a giant on the tollway. There was that giant ditch for a long time. This guy came in and bought and paid for this land. Was going to build this building, and he just dug a giant hole and then goes, "Oh, out of funding."
Love it.
Yep.
After
He
the hole,
paused.
how
Yeah.
long is that
Right.
hole?
Yeah.
Like,
Turns out holes are expensive.
yeah.
Who'd have thunk?
So we're gonna get to another topic here. And
Well,
that's-
first of all, Sarah, thank you for those stories.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
of
Appreciate
course.
it.
I was
I've
trying
gotta
to keep it simple, so I didn't,
No,
No, yeah.
bore you
Alabama Poop Train is a very
Yeah.
very compelling name for something.
Right.
I really love it.
That
That is
sentence was
something.
too funny to me.
People
one
in
of the things that-
Alabama don't want to go
How
outside.
do you transport poop?
In trains.
And but
obviously.
why?
How? You don't seal it? I guess.
Well, no, I
Yeah.
think the problem is I bet you part of it was like had some leakage or there would be some smell.
That and I mean 2 months. I'm sure it starts to like
Sitting
eat
there in the
away at
heat
things
or
like
something.
the
Well,
acidity, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like compost, it starts.
It was labeled as biosolids, which I assume there's got to be some dehydration there, because if anything, it'd be semi-solids.
No, I mean, have you ever smelled compost?
Pickle here.
God.
We are walking a fine line.
Yeah.
What was that again?
Has
I'm just
anyone-
saying.
Did I pick a bad story?
No.
No, this is great. Has anyone smelled compost or like
Oh, sure,
things
sure,
yeah.
decomposing? It's disgusting. It's like 3 times worse than anything I've ever smelled. So I guess if you have a ton of it,
Right.
it's just
a train full.
horrific. Yeah, a train.
That's like it's like driving through Amarillo though. All the. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Or
No.
Big
No.
Spring if you've made
Yeah.
your way out to West Texas.
Yeah.
Been there yet.
Oh,
Driving through
Or
and you
Grand
have to-
Prairie if you've driven through Grand Prairie.
You have to roll the windows up because the smell's so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know what's out there besides just cattle. I
sure
can't
that's probably
imagine.
what it
But talking about road trips, you were talking about going to Marfa last weekend,
Love Marfa.
and you got stopped by the highway patrol.
Right.
You had an incident, and you were almost, I hate to say it, almost locked up. You, the lawbreaker here on the show.
timely. I'm
Yeah.
getting better with this whole soundboard
Sitting
thing.
at the edge of my
this is
seat
good.
for this
Getting
story.
there. All right. So the thing is, I'm legally here. I can work all the jazz. I follow the law.
Right.
You know.
We
I'm-
checked.
Right.
Just saying. Go ahead.
So my husband and I were driving. You know, we didn't intend to go through the through the border at all. So we're like, okay, you know, we carry our IDs, which are our driving license. We're good. We have identification. And then, yeah, we're like, we see a border patrol. Well, wait, we're not going to Mexico. This doesn't mean anything. We just keep driving, and then on the way back, the officer stops us. And he's like, well, I made the mistake of saying that we were non-residents. There's like this whole thing about alien resident, alien non-resident. It's a mess. Like, you can be for tax purpose one thing and be not the other. Anyway. And so we are legally here, but he just assumed we were like not sure of our status or something. So he's like, so your documents. I'm like, here's my ID, my driving license, all happy, you know, like, oh, we go, proud, you know, I know what I'm doing. And he was like, no, your passport. And I'm like, wait, what? What?
Yeah, you're in Marfa, Texas.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't planning to leave the country at all. That's
No, right,
that's what's
and-
important to note here.
We were like, hang on,
Yes,
we don't have to, right? He's like, where's your green card? I'm like, we don't have green card yet. And he's like, yeah, you need to carry that at all times. And I'm like, oh my God. So then he
Yeah.
goes and checks our legal status and all that. And then he comes back and he's like, you gotta carry either your green card, an I-94 saying your status in the country, or like a work authorization.
Wow.
Okay, so
Right?
for anybody who doesn't know, where exactly is Marfa, Texas, in regards to the border of Texas?
Apparently, you can
very
see
close.
Mexico
Yes.
from certain parts of Marfa.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of close.
Right, but
All
we
right,
were
yeah, a few
never
miles,
that
yeah.
close.
Yeah.
But if you are 30 miles from the border, you have to carry it. And I just researched this for the show, because if you're normally like for here in Dallas, that wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
Why the 30 miles? It's like if someone crossed the border illegally and they're going to go, well, I'm not going to go 30 more miles.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, but apparently that's the thing. And
Just like for precaution.
yeah, we just got a warning. Apparently they
Yeah.
do kind of give you a warning, or then, depending on, we knew our status and all of
Yeah.
that, so there was no issue. But they can jail you for 30 days, and you may have to pay $100 fee.
Because you're from Europe,
Right.
so from Portugal to be more exact, and your husband is from France. When we were in Spain and we were driving into France, the border patrol there was loose at best. Basically, like driving into France, we saw no one.
Yeah.
No stopping at all.
It's open borders.
Yeah, on the way back from France into Spain, it was like 11 o'clock at night, though. There were two guys with guns stopping every car, but literally we pulled up, he looked at the car and was like, yeah, you're good.
Well, remember,
You don't like
France
threatening.
had a lot of
Yeah.
bomb attacks and everything, so
Yeah.
they were super chilled. But then all those terrorist attacks happened,
Yeah.
so they
Bastille Day, right? Most recently.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
a ton of them. So they just have you go through the airport, and I never seen guns that big. I gotta tell you, they were like this big. So I was like, oh, wow. So anyway, yes, we're used to not having to carry our, well, I wouldn't carry my passport. I mean, God, if I lose it, oh, what an endeavor.
I always think about that. Like, so I've had girlfriends who have lost their license, so they'll take their passport out. And I'm like, I would be so nervous to do that.
And if
that I would
you're-
lose my passport or get stolen or like something. Like, that's
Yeah.
such an intense document.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's the weird part is when you travel internationally, at least I've always been told this, is that once you're in the country, you don't plan on leaving the country, you put your passports in the hotel safe, you lock them up. I keep a copy of mine in my pocket. And one other little
that's
helpful
smart.
tip, as I also, whatever phone I have programmed in the U.S. Embassy for that country.
Oh,
That's
smart.
so
Little
smart.
fun little tidbit.
A planner here, a planner.
Well,
A traveler.
I'm going
I-
out of
I
the
expect an
country in a
international
couple
incident
weeks,
at
so-
some point.
yeah, I do drink internationally, so anything is possible. But yeah, I've always been told that, so I wouldn't have had any idea. Even when I was in Mexico, I never carried my passport. After I was in Mexico City, I had my ID. But I would figure you were even more safe if you had a Texas driver's license,
Right.
Like that, because to get that you have to prove that you're a citizen, or not a citizen, but that you're here legally.
Yeah,
And
I
so
don't-
it just seems.
I don't think-
you don't
I don't-
have to.
No, well, how about the Dreamer situation? Don't they get a driving license, for instance?
Yeah, no, like, I don't think illegal aliens are looking forward to, like, rolling into the DMV and sitting in line for 2 hours. Like, nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
Much less if you're a citizen, like, but, I mean, come on. I don't think illegal aliens are like, let's go hang out at the DMV and get a license and
get
go through
verified
all of that.
documentation.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to scoot by. Like, if you have a Texas driver's license, what more do you need, right? That should
Yeah.
do it. But
Well,
I don't know enough about border security to
Clearly,
argue,
I was
really.
never stopped by the popo.
Right.
So
Yeah.
never happened.
You very
Hard
nefarious.
criminal, obviously.
Yeah, there you go. That's our own Anna Xavier fighting the law, and she won. Made it back here to Dallas. And lesson learned: don't go to Marfa.
Yeah.
You get
Right.
profiled in Marfa. There you go. That's the lesson learned. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we have one more quick segment to get to before we let you go on this Friday here on the Lunch Break Show.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? When you were 8 and you had bad traits, you go to school and learn the golden rule. So why are you?
discombobulated show today. We're trying to figure out how to get stuff worked in, but we're having a lot of time. We'd love your feedback and comments. But before we go, I read this story and I wanted to bring it up. It was about a woman who went into debt. Going to, I think it was 13 weddings.
In a year?
In a year.
Yeah.
And so on the verge.
That's excessive. That's
on the
ridiculous.
verge of financial ruin. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but somewhere in the ballpark of $13,000 spent going to weddings. And that because she said, and she's like, look, here's what happened. 4 of them were out of country. That's dresses, because you can't wear the same dress.
Was she in them?
She was in like 4 or 5 of them. So that's also brides, maids, parties, and gatherings, and bachelorettes. So one of them took place in Italy, one of them took place in Greece, one was in Mexico. So anyway, 13,000. She had a great time for 13,000, but 13,000 was the number that she spent, and she didn't have it. So it was all on credit. So she's had to move out of her apartment, move in with her parents, and try to slowly pay back, because this is now the debt has grown, so she's paying more and more and more because of interest rates being at 18% on your credit card. So she's in financial ruin, but she says, "What choice did I have?"
Not.
And yeah, to me,
I'm sorry.
Easy,
I
Sarah
can't
Strackhouse.
deal with
Yeah.
it.
I'm sorry.
Reserve that judgment. Come on.
jumping
now.
the gun. But that's my thought. Is like, I don't know, because as a guy, we have it fairly easy. We can wear one black suit to all 13, and we're done.
Yeah.
Done. I know there is some differences, especially my guess here is I'm going to go on a limb and stereotype and say she was probably a part of a sorority, and that's why they have like 40 best friends. And right after college, she started going to all of her, her friends' weddings, and you can't say no. They say no to one, and you know it's one of those like political games, and she feels trapped, and all this sort of backstory. And I understand as well that you can't wear the same dress, because it's all the photos, and I get all that. But at some point in time, you kind of have to say, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry, but I can't afford to go. Like, pretend you didn't have a credit card. Then what would you do?
Yeah, I mean, that's the other part of the problem, is that she was paying all this on credit, so it was going to come back and doubly bite her. Whereas you could just say, I can't do it. I can't go. Although I know, like, we've been in that position where it's like, gosh, if we go to this wedding, we're gonna have to, even if we're not in it, you're bringing a gift. Yeah, or you're going somewhere, or it's you think about the cost involved of just going to a wedding is a lot. So there've been times when we said it's not worth it to us to go to this thing, because we're gonna spend so much money just to get there.
Mm-hmm. Weddings are something that have been prevalent in my life lately, because I'm getting to that age where, a lot of people are getting married. People from college. Christine's got a couple sisters. One just got hitched. Another one's engaged. And I've been in a relationship for a long time. Something's probably coming around the bend sooner rather than later. So we're talking about going to a wedding. Throwing one, right? Having a wedding. We were talking about this earlier. I'm like a hop, skip, and a jump away from financial ruin at all times. Right, I'm a simple man. Yeah, if I wreck my car, I got problems. Right, like throwing a wedding is expensive, man. And you think about how much it costs for people to go, to have one, to order everything. It makes eloping seem pretty awesome.
I got married in September, and I know it sounds. This is gonna sound kind of bad, but. When someone gave, I don't even know if I want to say it.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes.
When someone said no, I was like, yes.
All right.
Like, unless it was someone I was like very, very, very close to.
Like, ha, Nana, you're not going this year.
I feel mean, but like when you're paying like a certain number a head,
It's like $75 on average per head, for a meal.
It just, sometimes you're just like.
I think that so the current trend in weddings is for the younger generation is you get married when you're 28, 29, that range. But before that, you were getting married right after college or right after high school, even if you weren't going to college. Yeah. For our parents' generation, that was the trend. And I think that was a much better financial decision because when you're that young, when you're right out of college, no one expects you to roll out the red carpet for a glamorous wedding. What do you...
Sorry.
Comments?
I didn't mean to... Andy in the comments says weddings are bourgeoisie propaganda.
There you go. It's one of those deals that no one expects you, again, to have big fancy things. But as you get more and more into adulthood where you're 28, 29, coming up on 30, you're an adult, you have all, well, then all of a sudden your friends are like, well, I'm not going and staying at a La Quinta. We're not going to do this on the cheap. The expectations get higher. So I think that's part of the problem as well.
I bet there is a direct correlation between like student loan rates and like age people get married, right?
Yeah,
There's got to be. If not, somebody should jump
guess.
on that study.
Well, I'm very frugal, I guess. I don't like big things. I'm like, I don't understand the concept of somebody going into that. Like, if you can't tell your friend,
Yes.
I'm gonna starve and I'm gonna have to move out of my house and move into my parents so that I can go to your wedding, I'll be like, please don't.
Yeah.
I mean, what is wrong with people? I gotta say, if you put yourself in a way where if you just get into this situation where you don't know how you're going to pay for this or how you're going to be able to repay this debt, just don't go. Like, at what point is this acceptable?
There's this.
I agree.
Go ahead.
No.
There's this social embarrassment that comes with like not being able to spring for something financially, especially when it comes to like
Then your
commitment towards
friends
other
aren't-
people.
yeah.
I know, but that's my issue. I'm like, people understand that
Yeah.
though. That's a mutual thing between members of
Everyone
society.
struggles at some
Everybody
point.
struggles. Times is
has
tough.
issues.
I mean, they do and they don't. I've definitely heard people getting catty if you think that you say, I just can't, even if it's just to go out for a birthday party or something like that, and you say,
Sure.
I don't have the money right now. It's like, oh, all
remember-
right.
My thing is, like,
yeah.
you have no idea what goes on in someone's life or behind closed doors. Like, you have no, like, how can you, like, judge, if someone is saying they don't have money? And then, of course, in my head, I'm, like, judging this girl, for 13
Sure.
grand.
Right.
So I
But
just stepped on my own feet. But
you judge them, and this is what I think it all kind of comes down to. I think that it's the social media aspect of seeing everyone's life. So when you say no to someone, hey, I can't afford to go. If you really wanted that person to be there, the first thing you're going to do is go to their Facebook page and go, oh, but you could go to Cabo last month. You could eat out at this nice restaurant. When you see the highlight reel of people's life on Facebook.
Yeah.
And you make assumptions about them. And you're right. You have no idea
Yeah.
what their life is actually like, or the fact that they
could have been
may-
a work trip. Or,
that they have
Yeah.
PB&J sandwiches Monday through Friday so they could afford a night out
Right.
on the weekend. You don't know how they live their life, but you see things. And as well, when you're posting online, you're trying to be the best representation of who you are.
course.
I don't want to post like another sad day at the office, PB&J. And nobody wants to have that situation either, because then you're like a sad sack. And so instead, I think it's one of those issues that when you see people live online, you feel like I have to keep up. I have to do what they're doing. They're traveling, I have to travel. They're living their life, I have to do, and you don't know what they're giving up to have that.
Yeah.
And so when you're going around to every single one of your friends online and trying to keep up with the Joneses, you have no idea the behind the scenes stuff. So I think, one, stop doing that. And two, really, you have to kind of be true to yourself. And if you say, hey, and you don't have to say I can't afford to go. Just say I can't make it.
Yeah.
There could be 1,000 reasons why you
Yeah.
can't
Right.
make the trip.
That's true.
And say, hey, no, sorry, I wish you guys all the best. Next time you're in town, I'll take you out for drinks.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I'm not going to be able to go. And then just leave it at that. If your friend's rude enough to ask you, is it about price? Because I've heard of some people who are in the same predicament. And they, for some reason, told the bride and groom it was a financial thing, which I thought was kind of weird. They offered to pay for the flight, and it became this whole
That's awkward.
yeah, sticky situation. I think you don't have to share why you're not going. Just say, hey, I wish you guys the best. I've sent a gift. I can't make it this year. I think that's totally fine. And if you feel like you have that sense of like nauseousness when you get online and you see all the things that are going on, maybe realize that in yourself and go, I should maybe unplug more often and realize that all I'm seeing online is the highlight reel of people's life. And I'm not bashing on social media because we love Facebook and all other forms of social media outlets, but it's how you consume it.
Yeah.
Anyone else have a...
No,
No.
I can't imagine having 13 weddings on my calendar. That would
Well,
stress me out.
we had 8 this year, and we're not going
grief.
to. But we're not going to like half of them. Well, like I said, we're at that same age where like our friends getting married. A lot of the people in my bridal party are getting married, and we have some relatives getting married and stuff like that. But there's some we just couldn't make for one reason or another. But it gets up there. But Like, we're staying with family for some, we're saving money
Yeah.
in different ways and saying no.
There was
But-
one friend of mine who made it weird. He was trying to be helpful financially. So it was a destination, all inclusive. Like, you fly in and the hotel and the food, all that's paid for. But he was like, he got a deal on the bundle, but he like texted, was like, hey, let me know if you want to get on this bundle. I have like 12 hours
Has
to
a
get it booked.
Groupon.
Yeah.
12
Make a
hours.
decision now.
Yeah. And
Oh,
so
wow.
it just felt weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Pressure.
trying to do the right thing. Not right thing. He was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
And it's made everyone feel. Finances is one of those things that everybody gets uncomfortable with. Because I said, everyone lives within their own means or above their own means or whatever it is. And you just never know where someone's at. And so I think that's the hardest part. We have a lot of friends that have eloped. And by elope, I mean they like went on a vacation to Vegas and didn't tell anyone and actually got married.
Yeah.
And then spent what they would have spent on a wedding on a 2-week vacation in Europe. When my wife and I were getting married, and it was I wasn't over the top. It wasn't like the royal wedding, but it was a very
celebration,
nice.
yeah.
It was a very nice, wedding. There was a moment in time where our first venue had filed for bankruptcy, and we were trying to find another venue.
Oh, wow.
And
Stressful.
my wife's mom, my mother-in-law, goes, "Hey, just save all that money and buy a house, and then have your wedding at your house." And I was like, I don't know how much you think weddings cost, but the amount of money we were going to put in, it would put a down payment on a house.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't fit 300 people in this place. So I don't know what kind of house you think we're buying or how much you think I make. But it is not a
Buy your mansion and then
host it
in
have a
your-
party in the back. Yeah. It's one of those, like, I think she said it. She thought it was a good idea, like, to buy a house
Like, in
and not worry about.
theory,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
true. Come on,
then when you
come
think about like the practicality of it, like you could probably put 300 people in my backyard, but it would be elbow to
with
elbow.
elbow.
Yeah. There would be no wiggle room to get around.
I'm a big fan of the 2-week vacation in Europe instead of a wedding. Elope, go on vacation for 2 weeks, travel. Like, I feel like that's so much more of like an experience in like one evening and months of stress leading up to it. The problem is, I'm pretty sure if I did that, like, my mom would disown me because it's kind of an old school thing, weddings. Yeah, and like parents love them. It's kind of like seeing your kid graduate or hanging their finger painting on the fridge. I don't know. So yeah, that's weddings. I guess.
May I chip in?
Please
My
do.
wedding, it was literally just family.
Yeah.
At some point I was like, I can't, because it was all like the visa and the na, and I was like, oh my god, there's not enough. I don't have patience for this. So it's like, let's just get together. Let's just my sister, our family, la la la, and off we go. And that was it. We had the most beautiful day. We just went to these, I guess is the register. It would
The
equivalent.
courthouse?
I guess.
Okay.
I don't
was
know.
Was this here in the U.S. or is that?
I was in Portugal.
In Portugal.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining the Portugal courthouse is much more glamorous than the.
It wasn't actually.
okay.
We were just like getting married, not in the church or anything.
Yeah.
None of us is religious, so we just, just sign. We didn't even sign papers. The lady was like, "Oh, this is all electronic." I was like, "Oh."
Are you
all
sure
electronic
you're
in
actually
Portugal?
married? Right. We didn't
Right.
even sign paper. Come to think of it, we were at a Taco Bell. It has nothing to do with the wedding.
I signed the bill.
Yeah, there you go.
No, yeah, it was just super chilled, and I'm glad it was like this. I kind of miss having my friends around, but at the same time, like, oh god, just getting that muddy water where like, who do we invite? Checking for venues. Nobody got time for that.
I regret nothing about our wedding. It was expensive, and it was just a day. And when you're looking back on it, coming up on 9 years later, you forget moments and pieces are gone, and it goes by in a blur. But hopefully, 30, 40, 50 years from now, you can look back at pictures and you can remember the moments, the people that were there, and the stories that are still told from that night where all your friends come in to one place as like a celebration. So, of course, if things fell apart with my wife and I and we're done, then it was a waste of cash. But hopefully that doesn't happen, and 30 and 40 years from now, we still remember, because like I said, I planned a lot of it. So I was very involved in the process of like the flower arrangement, the cakes we were going to have, the music, I was very
great,
involved. And so a rule I have for you, Zach, before we take off.
Yeah, please.
You were saying that your mom cares a lot about this. And this is where I first adopted the your input means buy-in. So there's a saying I like to say, hey, the more you give input, the more buy-in you have to the outcome. Because we wanted to have a brunch. It was a less expensive way to have a classy wedding is to have a brunch wedding. We all like breakfast and waffles and
I like the
pancakes.
sound of brunch wedding.
nice.
You got the evening to yourself.
Yeah,
That's nice.
So you come in like it's 11 o'clock, and then you're done by like 3, and everyone can go home and still enjoy the rest of the day. To me, it was genius. Her father did not agree with that, and was like, no. It wasn't even like a let's have a conversation, just a flat no. And I was like, great. Again, your input means buy-in, and so they were very generous with what they helped pay for the wedding, but that was part of it. They had things that they wanted, and there was no problem at all because they were covering it. So it's one of those things to think about when if you're footing the whole bill for this, then she has obviously she's your mom,
sure,
but she would have very little input.
Yeah.
If she wants to give you a lot of input, I think that needs to come with a donation attached to it.
Fat check.
No, I like the idea of like take a vacation for a couple weeks, do your own thing, that's like your honeymoon all in one. Come back, have like a house party. Barbecue in the backyard with some lights or something, have everybody
That
come
sounds
over,
so nice.
hang out. Yeah, it's just like that just sounds so much more.
What we originally wanted to do is rent a house in like North Carolina, somewhere that's it's kind of like easy for people to get to because remember all of our family's from the north.
Sure.
So that's driving distance.
Right.
And Fred and I, my husband and I, were the only ones who had to fly up. So like everything was up north. So I got kind of lucky in that regard that I could only really plan from afar, so it didn't like consume me like it does a lot of people. But originally we were thinking we're gonna rent a house on the beach, get married right on the beach.
Sounds like a great time.
Yeah. It didn't end up working because we had elderly family members that weren't able to make it because it was far away. So it, we ended up doing it back in New Jersey, but. Originally, we wanted something super
Originally,
easy.
it was going to be great, and then...
No, I mean, it was still wonderful. Like you said, I wouldn't change it for anything. I mean, it was amazing, and it was kind of right where I grew up, and, we loved it, but it was, you know...
It's one of those
something to be
things.
said for simple weddings.
Well, there you go. That is the Lunch Break Show. I don't think we actually solved anything, as is our tradition here on the Lunch Break Show. If you have any comments, we'd love to hear from you. You can go to our email, which is... Zach?
Oh, gosh. The lunch break at realnewspr.com.
There you go.
Oh, hey, you mind if I give the YouTube a plug?
Oh, please,
Yeah, we're back on YouTube. Different account.
On a YouTube.
Real News CN instead of Real News Communications Network. Those chuckleheads at Google thought they had us, but man, oh man, did we outsmart them.
Haha.
Also, our other page, Real News Communications Network, just hit 100 subscribers. 100 subs, guys. Well done. This one's for you. Yeah, we appreciate it.
So thank you guys so much. Please like, share, and follow. Leave comments, and we will go from there. We'd like you to come on the show. You can stop by anytime, or you can email us your request, and we'd love to get back to you. I am Josh, Zach, Matt, Anna, Xavier, and Sarah Strackhouse in for Real News Lunch Break Show.